Hello friends, it's Cindy Brumbaugh from CindyLeeBDesigns.com, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I have a pretty little card using the Lots of Heart bundle. It is retiring with this catalog, so you want to maybe grab it if you've been looking at it. Lots of Hearts has lots of hearts in it and has wonderful dies too. We're going to be using a lot of the different dies there on this card. But the fun thing about it is I was taken by this gingham here, and I decided I would make something on this card using some leftover strips I have and make a gingham heart that's like kind of patchwork. So we're going to do that today. I'm going to show you how. We're going to kind of go back to our elementary school art days, and we are going to do one of those like basket weaves. So what we're going to do is take a piece of scratch paper here, and we are going to make a basket weave. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to put down a whole bunch of the same strips. These were just half-inch strips that I had in my crumb cake drawer where I store all of my cardstock, and then I had some basic white as well. So we're just going to put one of our colors that we're going to use on the basket weave, and we're going to put them all together nice and tight. This is the first video that I'm making with my little granddaughter here today. So we're going to see if we can accomplish this. I just fed her, and I thought she was had her belly filled here. So we shall see if she keeps a little quiet. So next thing we're going to do is take our strip, and we put this piece of Scotch tape here just to hold down the strips here so that we don't have to sit there and play around with it. Now we're going to take our other strip and we're just going to weave it in with this one. Now of course you can do whatever color you like, but you just do it like your basket weave, up and over each one. And so we've got one there. Now the next one we're going to do is going to be going under the next strip and up over. So there we go. And that's why it's really nice to have it taped over there, because if you don't have it taped and secure, it tends to move around on you. So now we're going to put this piece here. We're going to get it nice and tight there. That's the only tricky part about this, is just getting a nice tight weave here. So there we go. And it's a little different since we have crumb cake and white. Crumb cake's a little bit of a thicker than my basic white. Okay, so now let's do another one here. And like I said, we just go up and over so that we're creating a basket weave. And then there we go. And we're going to put that, and you can see that we're getting that really cool basket weave there. You can do this with multiple colors. You could have different colors for each strip. It's really a cool technique. Oop, this one goes under here. There we go. And then just pull it nice and tight so that you get a good weave there. And just push it as there you go. And then we'll do another one, and we'll pull this one up and pull this one up and go under that last one. Here we go. Getting that weave together there. And then let's just do one more here. And like I said, all we're doing is going in and out, just like we learned probably in one of our elementary school. Actually, it's kind of appropriate that little spring baskets and Easter baskets and things like that. So there we go. We have our basket weave made here. Now, I use the dies that are in the Many Hearts dies, and I used this die. Now there are 3 different dies here. This die here, let me grab my take your pick tool. I see a little piece of here. So we have this die that cuts out a solid black heart. Now if you take this die that just has one cutting edge here and you put it down into the top of your black solid die, you're going to end up with this, okay? So you'll use this die to get that, then you'll put this die on there to get this, and of course you'll end up with a leftover heart to use on another project. Now this cute little die here, this thin lined outline, it comes from this die. Now you'll notice there's 2 rows of cutting edge on there, and that cuts out this one, and that's where I stuck in there to give a nice finished edge inside there. So what we're going to do is we already have our black ready to go on our card, but what I want to do is die cut my heart that's going to go in the middle there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is grab some of the temporary adhesive here, and I'll just get like a nice design of where I like that heart so that I have about the same amount of a like, do you notice how I'm getting, let me see here, I'll put the middle of my heart there, and then I'll have, and this one's going to be just a tad different because of the way I'm doing the die, and I want to have maybe, do I want to have a little bit of, let me see here, let's put a little white down the bottom there. So let's, as long as you kind of have about the same amount of space of the gingham, like don't just go like that. I think it looks better when you have some symmetry to it. So let's make the same amount of white, a little tip of the white on the bottom and a little bit up on the cleavage of the heart up there. Okay, or I want to put a little bit more of white in the, okay, there we go. So then I'm going to put down some tape that I can easily get. You could use Scotch tape on this one because you're putting it on the outside, and then you guys are just going to hold 1 second while I run this through my Stampin' Cut Emboss machine. You just run it through a couple times because you're going to go through 2 layers. And I ended up with, sorry guys, here we go. Ha! There we go. So what I did is I just die cut out the middle, and I end up with this cute little heart. Is it adorable or what? Now, I want to make sure that when I take off this protective coating here, I'm just gonna put some security on my gingham. Actually, it would have been a good idea to actually do that whenever, before I ran it through my Big Shot, but you're just going to secure that gingham together. So you can see now that that is going to be the gingham that goes inside of our black heart. Isn't that cute? Okay, so what I did on this card is I used crumb cake. Let's get our pieces here. I used a piece of crumb cake, and this crumb cake was a half sheet of our cardstock, and it's 11 inches by 4 1/4, and I scored it at 5 1/2 to make a portrait style card. Now I put on the front of it a piece of basic black, and all the measurements and all the products I use are on my blog, cindyleebdesigns.com. Right underneath the YouTube video, just press where it says visit my blog here. It'll take you right over to cindyleebdesigns.com. You can find additional photos, all the supplies and colors, as you can find underneath the description as well. Now, you know, if you know me or watched any of my videos, I would have definitely cut that heart out of this, okay? And I would have cut a label out of this black too, because I'm covering it up. But this, these were already cut out of some other scraps I had. So what we're going to do is we are going to put this basic white, which is, now our black is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And so that means one layer down is 3 3/4 by 5. Now I ran that through our great Pinewood Planks 3D embossing folder. Love that one. Can you ever go wrong with a wood grain? It's awesome. So what we're gonna do is we're going to put some of our Stampin' Seal on the back of our wood grain. And then we are going to put that onto the basic black. A lot of times when I'm doing this, I'll do on the longer side of my, so I can get a better look there. And then I'm just putting that white on that black, and then that really gave a nice popping off the card. So we can go ahead and put this also. Oh gosh, it's paining me to not use that black to cut something with, but I just grabbed the paper together and I didn't even think about it. So we've got our adhesive there, and then once again I'm going to try to do here. I love the black, white crumb cake, that rustic kind of fixer-upper, kind of a great, I think I need to give a little more space on the one side. And if you're like me, just be really careful when you're pulling that up so you don't get the edges there. Okay. Let me see here. I'm going to try using this perspective here. Oh, I can hear her getting a little bit rowdy down there. I have her in her little bouncy chair. My daughter-in-law, when she dropped her off this morning, said, she's been fussy today. I'm like, that's okay. Grandma can handle that. So now we've got our wood grain on there, and now we're going to just put together our heart here. So we've got our neat little heart that we made out of our basic weaving. Now we want to put this over here, so we're going to turn it upside down, and we're just going to put some Scotch tape right along those edges. Okay, so we're going to make sure we've got a nice inlay of that, and then just put some, there we go. Let me see here. Let's put a nice piece of Scotch tape along some of these straight edges, and then right along that round edge, and another straight edge here, and then another little piece here along this rounded edge here. So there we go. Now I noticed that it's not, well, this one actually did turn out perfect. I think when I made this one, I had a little bit of a rough edge here. So that's why I went ahead and put this really cute black in there. Okay, and on this one, oh no, I actually used crumb cake. Okay, so I put a little piece of crumb cake in there as a contrast. So what I'm gonna do is get out my craft mat here, and I'm gonna put some little drops of glue here, because then that just gives a finished edge inside there. You could do this when you're actually, you know, just doing plain cardstock hearts that you've die cut, but you can also definitely want to do it on this one. It just gives a nice finished edge, but oh, well, you're gonna put that on there. Okay, so let's put that onto, oh, that looks so pretty. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how perfect that turned out. Just think of doing this in pinks, greens, blues, all kinds of different ones. So we're just inlaying that inside the black on top of our weave. And that crumb cake actually gives a nice contrast and a finished detail there on that card. So then the next thing I did is I took some dimensionals, and I'm going to be using up some of my edges here. So we're going to take advantage of these little edges, and we're going to put them on the back of our heart. And then I have a couple big ones here I can put, and then pull off a couple pieces here. So I've got some good coverage with dimensionals there, and then I'm just going to put that onto the pine wood planks as a nice backdrop there. And here we go. There we go. And get off that protective adhesive there. Well, I guess Jim is deciding to do a concert downstairs. A lot of times he doesn't realize I can hear him up here, but he's singing. Even though I went down and said, hey, I'm gonna make a video now that Edie's sleeping. He's like, okay. So I turned down his TV, but now he's singing. So I used a different sentiment that's in this set. You know, the thing I love about this sentiment is you think Valentine when you see hearts, but this one is just a nice thinking about you, sent with lots of heart. It could be sympathy, just a little note, a thank you. Really, I told my friend Cheryl I was not going to get this one because I already have a lot of hearts. However, this is probably one of my favorite ones now that I started playing with it. I really like all the dies. So many different dies that are in here. A little bird, this little die cut with the XOXO hugs and kisses that can cut into the paper. We're going to use this one on the inside. You've got this heart that's a floral heart here that you can then layer inside here. So this really is a super cute one. Well, I used my stitched rectangles and I die cut my heart smiles just thinking about you, but I thought it was a little bit too plain. So what I did is I took another one of those stitched rectangles and I die cut it and cut it in half, and what I'm going to do is put it on the back of each edge on. Oh, little miss is down there making some. Okay, now I've got glue stuck on my fingers. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of black coming out from each side. Okay, and really all you're doing is eyeballing it, but just make sure you eyeball it on each end the same. So right about the middle, a little bit on, I think I've got a good. That looks good. All right, so then we're gonna put, see, all we did was cut that and stretch it out, and it just gave just a little bit of pizzazz to that without having to put, I didn't want to put another big black border around that. So that was just perfect for what I wanted to do. And like I said, I have about 15 of these sitting there with all these edges, which I usually do save for sentiments and stuff, but this time I just was like, my Stampin' dimensional bin runneth over, so I said we are going to use some of those. So then I'm just going to put this right on the bottom, using my eye to look at the bottom of the white and kind of give about the same amount of white on the bottom and the two sides. And then we've got a cute little sentiment on there. I jazzed it up with some of these basic matte black dots. I love these. And what we're gonna do is put a little one of the smaller sized ones, up here in this corner. And then I'm gonna put a bigger one down here along with another smaller one. Here we go. Gives a little pizzazz there. On this one, I just put a little tiny heart that was cut from this die, and it makes the cutout there. As you can see, it pulls out of there. So we have that. And on this one, though, I wanted to put, where did I see that I put it? I can't find it now. But on the photos, oh, here it is. I wanted to put just a little bow on there. So what I'm going to do is take my glue dots and I'm going to get a little bow, and I'm going to put, I tied my little twine, linen thread twine, and I'm just going to put right in the middle of my heart. No, maybe not there. You guys will find out when you go over to my blog what I end up doing with my bow. So on the inside of the card, as you can see, I just die cut this really cool die here that has like kind of a scrolled heart here. I die cut that, and I just adhered it to the inside of my card, and I stamped it with scent with lots of heart. So there you go. Is that a fun card or what? Just go back to your elementary school days and tape down your strips of cardstock, and to take an alternate color of strips and just basically weave it in and out, up and over, up and over, up and over, and then you just die cut it with the solid die cut heart that's in the many hearts dies. And then you took and used this solid black that you then die cut with the same heart that you cut out. Wait, I'm sorry. It was with the same heart that you cut out. It goes in because you want to inlay it there. So this heart this just goes to show that there's one more layer of heart that goes, wait, no. See, I did that before. This is the heart that die cut this piece, and it's a solid piece that just falls out. When I first played with these hearts, I thought it went inside here, and then I was, whoa, but I did get an extra heart that came out of this black here too that could be layered in. So this is so versatile. I mean, this scallop, you could just literally put this crumb cake heart, you could put it right on here. So you have a lot of different things that you can do. And that one came actually out of this die here. When I cut out this piece here, this fell out. So always save all those little pieces that fall out, and you can have some real fun with this lots of hearts die. So I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna put in there. And like I said, you have really fun sentiment here, a fun sentiment here, something really to catch your eye on the inside. So make sure you jump over to cindyleeBdesigns.com to see additional photos of this card. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks for buzzing by, friends.